Hotep Senuhena Senut I Tiren Isha Kandukukemet. I hope you're doing well. The title of this video, this live stream, is Metatron ran from reality. He is blind to the truth. It took less than 24 hours. Let me check the sound first of all. The chat is open to everybody. Did not really have time to go through the settings. I made a reply and I also tagged him in my community timeline so he will be aware of this video. Let me check the sound. Okay. So it's very simple. Yesterday I made a video addressing his claims. It's something that I'm used to. When you show primary sources, primary records, primary data, then all of a sudden people become blind. He went on and talked about DNA and, you know, as a black person, you know what I'm saying, African. So I'm going to share the link to the video that I made yesterday and show you his reply. You have it here. Okay? Metatron was Amenhotep III, black Egyptian or multi-ethnic. I've used his term. He said the ancient Egyptians were multi-ethnic. Now, would it be fair to say that the Ptolemies were multi-ethnic? Couldn't they have possibly mixed with different ethnic group? Now, this question I don't expect an answer for. It's just for the record. Some people have convenient logic. So, you know this artifact right there from the Louvre Museum, Amenhotep III, Akhenaten's father, King Tut's grandfather. I did not put it in the Louvre Museum. Now look at his response. See here? Oh, snap.
Therefore, there is diversity.
You know what? Let me put the fair use disclaimer because I'm gonna play one part from yesterday. You know, like I said many times, take people on their own standards. So here's a fair use disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. That being said, you can see that 7 hours ago, oh, I don't like when he does that. I hope he did not remove his comment. I hope he did not remove his comment. But I have the screen capture anyway. But you know, sometimes he's playing up like that. I'm not accusing him. You have to be very careful with issues like that because you know they will jump on little details, and sometimes they will play the victims. I have the screen capture anyway, but I'd rather show it directly on his video. There it is. So you see, 7 hours ago, I wrote the same question and I give the link to the video. That person here is just ridiculous. You know, we don't have to waste much time. It's a person with no content who wrote, "Sir, that YouTube video has literally no academic credit." I mean, this person has to be a straight up fool, because I have quoted several PhDs. So you know, the first sentence, it doesn't need any more remarks. I mean, makes it so we don't need any more remarks. Now, this is Metatron. An hour after, he wrote, and look at this. He wrote, let me see, I'm going to make sure it's sharing properly. Yes. It is silly to ask if a single individual was multi-ethnic. Why is it silly? Why is it silly? Why is it silly? Was George Washington multi-ethnic? Oh, it's silly to ask if a single individual is. Is Bill Clinton multi-ethnic? Oh, it's silly to ask the question. Is George Bush multi-ethnic? In a multi-ethnic society, there are individual or several ethnicities. So he makes the rules now. It's a multi-ethnic society just because he said so. It's convenient, so this way he can run from the facts that I've shown that comes from museums around the world. Now, for the record, I have to come up with a title when I have a video. And I really wanted him to give an answer about Amenhotep III. Hence that title, but I've shown other people too. So stop being disingenuous. He is being condescending and he's running from the truth. And it's funny because in his video, he asked the person he replied to, are you blind? Hence my title. You can see Metatron ran from reality. He is blind to the truth. And you have the link here. Some people don't see the elephant in the room. Then he added, hence the presence of a black individual of power. Now that's interesting. That's interesting because here it seems that we have our answer. When it comes to Amenhotep III, of course. Because he has stated his stance regarding the ancient Egyptians. Now, when he addressed the other person, he said that, he doesn't require, and I'm paraphrasing, a PhD, but just a first year student. When he came to the Medu-Neter, or the ancient Egyptian language, or hieroglyphic. Well, Metatron, you have to know that at different point in times, you have some people who came into control of the land. Just like we had the Greeks who came during the late period, circa 400 BC, there was, for example, a time period where some Asiatics, known as Hyksos in Greek, which derives from the Medu-Neter, Heka Hasut, or Heka Hasut, they did not control the whole land, but a fair part. Would you say that, would you deny that they came from abroad? Would you include them as being part of indigenous ancient Egyptian? Let's make an analogy. The Nazis. They conquered several different areas. So all the different countries that they went through, we'll say, well, you know what I'm saying, or these different countries, didn't they have control over some African region? Like Namibia and other parts. So we will say, well, Namibia is multi-ethnic. They were part Namibians and part Germans. Would that make sense? Would that make sense? If we apply the same logic. But regardless, he wrote, hence the presence of a black individual of power, even if proven. Oh, no, hold on. Hence, the presence of a black individual. Let me say it again. Hence, the presence of a black individual of power, even if proven, does not debunk the multi-ethnic proposition. And I like that proposition. I like that, which I consider your personal opinion. Because People like to use all sorts of jargon, scientific jargon. But we have the primary record. We can see how they depicted themselves. Who's best suited than the population itself? And there's a plethora of depictions of ancient Egyptians by themselves. And they have depicted Asiatics as well. And on those depictions, we can clearly see the difference in at least skin tone. We could argue phenotype as well. So the Photoshop, I forgot what it's called. You know, I don't use that program, but this editing software that he used to show the skin tone, like olive skin, and it's the same. Why don't you go ahead and do the same with the Asiatics and the ancient Egyptians? Why don't you go ahead and compare the skin tone? Since you wanna, that was one of your arguments in your video. Who are you to say that it is silly? So I've quoted PhDs. A dissertation from the University of Birmingham. A book written by scholars on the University of the Metropolitan Museum and other scholars too. James P. Allen, PhD, renowned Egyptologist. Black man. So it is silly knowing that once again you have a title, but I've shown artifacts from Amsterdam in the Netherlands in the museum. I did not put those artifacts there. I did not paint them. I did not use Photoshop. I showed some artifacts also from Museo Egizio in your home country, Metatron, of Italy, Turin. And the other one, it was, if I'm not mistaken, there was Amsterdam for the Netherlands, and there was Copenhagen in Denmark, another museums, 3 different museums. So I've shown not just one individual. You're being disingenuous and you're running. You are running. What does that mean? Even if proven. See, if people don't have good eyesight, why should we listen to it? Why should we listen to them? If they don't have good eyesight. But now, just for the record, so we heard it. What he told, we're gonna see what he told the guy he was responding to. Towards the end, if he has it laid down, not here. Okay. I want you to hear what he said at one point. Oh, you know what? Just listen to his breakdown by population. Listen to his breakdown here. I'll put the volume.
And white, and they say, what do you mean by black? And I'm not exactly clear. So that's why I gave that specific picture as a representation of only one, obviously, type of black person.
Ironic, isn't it? But I'm not tripping on that. I'm not saying it's silly.
Grew up in Sicily. I could see the coasts of Africa. So trying to tell me that I don't know what a black person looks like, extremely disingenuous.
Well, it looks like he doesn't know what a black person looks like when it comes to Amenhotep III. But since his stance is that the ancient Egyptians were multi-ethnic, that's why I asked him, is he multi-ethnic?
Proof of that, here is a link to this video where I specifically discuss the phenotypic variation of black people within Africa. Listen
to the phenotypic variations of people of Africa. Listen to this nice scientific jargon that he's going to use.
Details. You see, African populations harbor the greatest genetic phenotypic diversity according to molecular genetics and whole genome sequence data across a broad geographic range. That's due to extensive population substructure, the largest number of population-specific alleles, and less linkage disequilibrium among the loci, together with the heritable variation in human genome. This is why Africa is an important region to study human genetic diversity due to several factors such as climate variation, diet, exposure to infectious disease, a number of demographic factors such as selection, mutation, recombination, and gene conversion, which result in the above-mentioned genetic and phenotypic variation within population clusters.
You heard that? So here, once again, you have the link. Amenhotep the third. I forgot one I. It says two, but it should be the third. Forgive me, ladies and gentlemen. Amenhotep the third in the Louvre Museum, Paris, France. You have the link here, right? So after you heard him, all this scientific diatribe, all this nice jargon, and then you show that Eve proven. All right, but where he lived in Sicily, he could see the coast of Africa. So how dare someone tell him that he doesn't know what a black person looks like? That can be ironic. But I'm looking for the part where he addresses debate. And I won't be long because I'm about to finish now. But it will be good to hear it.
Please talk process
early on. Because at one point, the other person said that he should be quiet or he should shut up. I'm gonna look. You know what? I'm gonna look for it briefly, and then I'm done. Bear with me. Never mind. I don't want to make this too long, but you can verify in his video. At one point, he's quoting the person that he's having a, discussion or quote unquote debate, different opposing views. With he quoted the person saying, you should be quiet or you should shut up. So I'm paraphrasing, and it was like, well, why? What I'm saying, there's a debate, a discussion. What I'm saying, and I'm paraphrasing again. I don't want to be too meticulous because I expect him to pick a little thing that I said instead of sticking with the main issue at hand, which is this. Now, mind you, this is one of the most powerful king of ancient Egypt. So there's a huge possibility. It is safe to presume, not to say safe to conclude, that he is a good representation of the population of ancient Egypt during that time period, at least. You can look at his family line, because what many people have liked to do is talk about the Nubian dynasty, Taharqa and his family, the 25th dynasty. Well, that's way before. The 25th dynasty, circa 700 BC. This is 1300 BC. This is twice as old. B. Bennett is in the place to be. He wrote Hotel. So Metatron, it's okay. You're not the only one. But no need to say it's silly. You don't make the rules. If you want to run from the discussion, if you want to run from the debate, if you cannot stand an opposite view backed up by... Merout, c'est quoi ça là? Fais attention, Merout, hein? So backed up by record, primary documentation, artifacts, with quotes from scholars. At one point in my video, I probably wonder if he will admit, if we will show integrity, because he clearly stated that the Greeks called themselves white, but the ancient Egyptians did not call themselves black. And I've shown different instances where ancient Egyptians called themselves black, not one individual. And I've shown in some case from the 6th dynasty, which means 1000 BC, 4,000 years ago. See, the talking points of Metatron are not new to me. There was even an era where people that we have nicknamed Riparianites, they were having similar arguments in some respect. So it's very simple and easy. If they don't consider that painting represent a black person, then let us tell us what's the ethnic group here. You can say, oh, I don't want that smoke, Metatron. You can say, it's too hot in the kitchen, so I'm gonna get out. You can say, I'm scared, I'm in fear. Or you can get some of the academics that you have thanked in the beginning of your video and pass them the torch. You could just tell your audience, I'm out of my lane right now. Over. You can tell your audience, I'm out of my league right now. I haven't met my match. I've met somebody that's on a whole other level. There's nothing wrong with that. In some areas, you know, I'm not that well versed, you know, it's not my lane. But don't be coming at people like it's silly, like you make the rules and you decide because it's inconvenient. That's not how it works. I didn't call you names. See, you have some people like, oh, you know what I'm saying? There's some Afrocentrists, if you don't agree with them, they call people racist. Labeling people Afrocentrists, I find it strange. But it's common. A lot of people like to do that. It's like if you label someone a conspiracy theorist, or when it comes to the textual criticism, or people who don't agree with some or many or most of the claims in the Bible when it comes to historical claims coming from the followers of this belief system, they are labeled mythicists. You have this term that already puts you in the box, and that seems to invalidate all the claims you. This is Afrocentrist. This is a mythicist. This is a conspiracy theorist. But when we have the facts, the records, notice I was careful to say I don't think he's going to say that the Met Museum is Afrocentrist, and all the scholars that are named James P. Allen, Blackman, I don't think he's going to say they are Afrocentrist. As a matter of fact, since he said, Metatron said that he scrolled through the channel of the individual he replied to, well, if he takes the time, I don't expect him. I think he said he watched all the guy's videos. Well, Metatron or his followers, what's good out of it is that people learn some things. We have plenty of artifacts, right? So you can see Black Ancient Egyptians Part 1 and Black Ancient Egyptians Part 2. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, judging by the name, someone that may be Italian that went to the tombs in Egypt and took pictures, mainly of paintings, because I've heard the argument, and that's not Metatron's stance. He made that clear. But some people say, oh, you cannot tell about statues. Well, we have paintings. We can see royal families, royal family members of different royal families. But I have, ironically, was Champollion Afrocentric? Was Herodotus Afrocentric? But I heard what he said about the Greek, and those words, mela, melas, melanes, melanos, holotrikes. I'm not sure if he addressed holotrikes. So, it's okay. Nice and sweet. The first video was an hour long. This one is half an hour long. The whole world has seen and witnessed Metatron running, Usain Bolt. Please, let me get out here, please. But he was very fly, very comfortable, condescending also towards the Afrocentrists, particularly the guy he replied to, throwing shots, low-key throwing shots. Life can be ironic. It's silly, please. Metatron, don't be silly. Tar isn't the place to be. Bennett wrote, do you think it's ironic that the term white is fine to use to describe Greeks, according to him, but not black to describe Egyptians? Well, it seems ironic to me when we show him this artifact right there. And for the record, once again, I've shown other artifacts as well from 3 different museums in 3 different countries. For those, if that matters for some, 3 European countries. How isn't the place to be? Soponoon Science Questions and Answers. Well, maybe that's Tar's significant other, but I never heard of this guy until today, if my memory is correct. I never heard of him until yesterday when his video came up on my feed, and I made a video that I wasn't disrespectful. I didn't say, oh, what he said is silly, but I'm not losing sleep over what he said. I just want to show the people, particularly my people, what happens. Yeah, it is Tar. What happens when you deal with academia? See, the Riparians, they tried, they lost teeth. Metaphorically, there was no fight. It's not just, these individuals that we've dealt with, the house of mess, the house of pedos and child molesters and rapists. They're not the only one who have WAC scholarship, so-called scholarship. Okay, so that's it, half an hour. Stay safe, stay healthy. If I'm allowed to by the nature of you, I will definitely holler back at you. I don't argue, I state facts. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. If you do not think right, you will not act right. If you know better, you will do better. Do I do nature?